Welcome back to the Front 7 podcast. I am Money Mike, and this is week 2 of the NFL. Tonight is the Battle of Ohio on Thursday Night Football as Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals head to Cleveland to take on Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. So, a lot to get to, a lot of stuff to get to talk about from the opening week of the NFL season. Now, I don't like to brag, but I want to go back to last week, what I said in my predictions video. So, I know I'm building up mine, as this is like the most that I've ever used, like uploaded to my channel, like ever. So I know it's gonna take a little bit for people to come and watch this, and you'll start to kind of see this over time. But I didn't say the Jacksonville Jaguars would beat the Colts. I thought the Colts would beat the Jags, but I did say that they would not have the number 1 overall pick next year, and also that Gardner Minshew fella. Take a look at what I said last week. I am going to sprinkle in this bold prediction, alright? Bold prediction right here, right now. As of tonight, as of today, September 10th, as of today, the Jacksonville Jaguars will not get the first overall pick in next year's draft. Nope. Everybody says that they will. I'm saying my bold prediction is that they are not the team who gets the number 1 overall pick. I believe the team who gets the number 1 overall pick will come from the NFC. And the NFC will get Trevor Lawrence. Look, I don't know. The AFC has Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. The NFC needs some young quarterbacks that can match up with the AFC quarterbacks right now. So I think an NFC team is going to get the number 1 pick next year. And the NFC is going to start getting some young, talented quarterbacks to match the AFC. That is my prediction. The Jaguars will not get the first overall pick. In fact, I believe Minshew is going to surprise a lot of people. That is my prediction. Okay, so maybe the Jaguars aren't going to stun the world, but you know what? If my bold prediction actually comes true, that is like the anti like narrative in the media. Like, I was going through reviewing all the recaps of the games and seeing what people were saying about each game, and a site that I like to use, Walter Football, like posted like this thing about the Colts and Jags where it was like, oh, the result of this game is embarrassing for both. The Jaguars are tanking, and Gardner Minshew didn't get the memo. And yeah, it's embarrassing for the Colts to lose because they had a lot of hype. I picked them to win the AFC South because I thought Phillip Rivers would actually make better decisions behind a better offensive line, but he still throws interceptions. Apparently, that didn't change when he went to Indianapolis. Thus, the Jaguars did win, but also Gardner Minshew didn't make history. I'm not saying the Jaguars are going to go out and win the Super Bowl, but I think the Jaguars stumbled into a potential franchise quarterback. And I think we're going to see a lot of the narrative of, oh, they're tanking. No, I think the Jaguars they weren't tanking. And I think outside of Calais Campbell, which again, on behalf of my Ravens, I thank you, Jacksonville, for sending him to us in a trade. But outside of him, I do believe that Jacksonville was more so getting rid of the cancer players, the me first players, as they're trying to build their team and getting more players that are about the team and not so much about them. And I think we saw that. You did not see Gardner Minshew's post game speech. Like I don't know, man. Like this Gardner Minshew. I'm not saying he's gonna be like the next Tom Brady, but like he has it. But it's just a matter of can the Jaguars develop him. But again, look, I think to me, I think we got to stop the narrative. I think the media has to stop the narrative that, the Jaguars were tanking. I think they got to look at this and maybe, I want to see sustained success, and build off of their surprise win. But, if there is, I think they could start getting some respect. And perhaps Minshew could start getting some respect. Go ahead and move into the Bears and Lions. I mean, this is just a heartbreaker. Lions fans, you guys have known this for years and years. This has been like the story of your team. DeAndre Swift, rookie. He has a game-winning catch. And he dropped it. It was like, it's probably the most normal thing that could happen in 2020 is Detroit losing a game in a heartbreaker. And the Bears, on the flip side of that, I thought, again, as I said in my predictions, I said an NFC team would have the number 1 overall pick, and I said it could be the Bears. And based on Mitch Trubisky, based on his play early in the first half and throughout most of the game, until he turned into Tim Tebow and made this excellent fourth quarter comeback for the Bears to win the game. It was, to me, I thought maybe the Bears would have a shot. Now, Trubisky does have to play better for the Bears to get better, to actually keep winning. Obviously, they're not going to be able to sustain the comebacks against Green Bay, Minnesota, if they're going to try to win the division. And then, obviously, I think there's too much competition in the NFC for them to be a potential wild card, but we'll have to see if there's any surprises in 2020 with the new 7th seed in the NFC. But speaking of the NFC, obviously we're going to talk about is it too soon to say he's a system quarterback? He's a Belichick system quarterback? Obviously, the most hyped game of week 1 had to be Tom Brady versus Drew Brees. The Bucs versus the Saints. Tom Brady's first game, not in New England. And so much hype. But it didn't really turn out to be the exciting game that we all thought it would be. Brady threw some picks. He threw a pick 6, just like he did in the playoff game against the Titans. He looked kind of frustrated out there, and again, we've seen this before from Brady, where if a defense has him flustered, he is frustrated. He is easily frustrated, and he's taken out of the zone. But to me, maybe it's the lack of the preseason. Not much of a training camp. Lack of chemistry. Maybe we'll see some chemistry with the offense as the season goes on, and we'll start to see more of the Brady Gronk connection, Brady Mike Evans, Brady Chris Godwin. We'll start to see that that chemistry between them on the offensive side kind of grow and gel as the season goes on, and then we'll kind of see Tom Brady be Tom Brady. But obviously, for the Bucs, this is not the result you want. With Tom Brady, 43, how much longer is he going to keep playing? Nobody knows. It's one of those things where, the Bucs put themselves in a situation where they're either Super Bowl or bust. And if they don't make the playoffs this year, I think you could consider this whole Tom Brady signing a complete failure. Again, it's week one, I don't, it's always kind of like the overreact to week one, and the media, because everybody believes the media hype. Oh, this team's going to be good. This team's going to be good. And then, week one comes and it's a big letdown. So it's like, okay, what happened? But, it's only week one. So I don't want to overreact too much. But, I think, do we have a clear race for the MVP? Because to me, after week one, and again, I don't want to overreact, but like everybody else does it, so why not? But I think week one, right now, I think the MVP race is between Russell Wilson, who had a great performance against the Atlanta Falcons. Clearly Dan Quinn is in his last year. I mean, to me, Atlanta just looks the same old, same old. You got Matt Ryan out there. And again, Matt Ryan was drafted in 2008, the same years that my Ravens drafted Joe Flacco. And the Ravens have already moved on from Joe Flacco 2 years ago, 2018. So, at what point does Atlanta, if they're looking at missing the playoffs and potentially Dan Quinn being gone, is there a chance of Matt Ryan being gone as well? Potential house cleaning, getting a new quarterback, things like that. But I do think right now, what I saw with what Russell Wilson did, what Aaron Rodgers did, a motivated Aaron Rodgers. I told you guys in my predictions, and I know as I grow my channel, I get more subscribers. You guys, know what I'm talking about. But it is one of those things where I said Aaron Rodgers is going to put all this to rest. The media was like, hey, he might be out the door. They drafted Jordan Love and all this stuff. Is there tension in Green Bay? They tried to make this controversy last year between the new head coach and my brain is like lost right now on the name of him, but it is one of those things where they've tried to make some kind of tension between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Like last year, they started Matt LaFleur. There it is. when the Packers brought in Matt LaFleur last year, there was like all this talk in the media of like tension between the Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. And then when they drafted Jordan Love, they traded up for Jordan Love. And obviously, trading up for Jordan Love, is a lot different than what happened in 2005 when when Aaron Rodgers just kind of slid to Green Bay, fell down to the draft board, and they didn't need to trade up for him. And Brett Favre was already talking about retirement. We have not heard retirement from Aaron Rodgers. And obviously, Rodgers kind of sees the writing. He's writing on the wall. He said that, he knows his time is going to be up soon. But, and he's even talked about it. Like, he said he might finish his career elsewhere. And I think there's this media tension, like, media-driven narrative where, just similar to Jacksonville, where, like, everybody just looked at what Jacksonville did, and they said, oh, okay, well, they're releasing these dudes, they're trading these people off, blah, blah, blah. They're clearly tanking. And then the Jaguars go out and they surprise everybody. They ignore the good stats that Gardner Minshew had last year, and then Gardner Minshew goes out and backs it up with a good Week 1 performance. And then very similarly, like I said, they try to create tension between the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Last year, they went to the NFC Championship game. This year, they drafted Jordan Love. Oh, Aaron Rodgers is on his way out, and Aaron Rodgers should feel disrespected. I mean, look, if Rodgers feels disrespected, then he needs to feel disrespected like every week. Because Rodgers, like I said in my predictions video, will go out there this season and just ignore everything. Ignore the media, ignore all this talk. He'll put all that to rest and have an MVP-like year. And I think after Week 1, it's clear that Week 1, I think our race for the MVP is clearly Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. I think those are the four that will be competing for the NFL MVP honors this year. Just based off of Week 1, we'll see. We'll see if that changes throughout the year. But, again, I think, to me, the biggest thing that really surprised me for Week 1 was the Chiefs having a running game. And that might be the most scariest thing in the world. Because we know what the Chiefs can do in the air when Patrick Mahomes is throwing the ball. Now they got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who had a great debut last Thursday night. I mean, he ran all over the Houston Texans. And, I mean, look, I don't know. Maybe teams paid attention to what the Ravens did last year. I mean, even the Texans, like, even David Johnson found some success early on with the Texans, and it was like, maybe teams were paying attention to what the Ravens did, and were like, okay, maybe we should run the ball more. Maybe we shouldn't pass the ball too much. Maybe we should focus on the run game more. Maybe we'll see that more as the season develops, but I mean, I would like to see it go. I would like to see the league kind of come full circle and go back to being where, you had like these tough, ground and pound running backs that would wear out the defenses. I would love to see that again. I don't mind the passing, the air, the passing show and everything that the NFL has now, but I'm an old school guy. Give me a good hard-nosed defense with a good solid running game to wear down the opposing defense. And if the Chiefs can do that week in, week out, and you mix that in with what Patrick Mahomes can do, like I said last week, I mean, they are on the verge of being the next dynasty. It's crazy. They have probably the best chance to repeat as Super Bowl champions as actually a better chance of repeating than previous Super Bowl champions have. And speaking of previous Super Bowl champions, I do want to talk about, though, the biggest headline. Other thing I want to talk about here real quick as we move along is what the heck happened to the Eagles. Maybe it's that offensive line. Maybe it's the injuries to the offensive line. Carson Wentz getting sacked 8 times. Like I said, also in my predictions video, again, as you watch these, as I make these videos and you start to realize what I'm saying starts coming true. Like I said, I thought Washington would have a defensive line that could rival the 49ers. And the 8 sacks on Carson Wentz proves that they're already there in one game. For Washington to go out there, from the story of the whole game where it's like they were down 10. Ron Rivera had to go get IVs. And essentially, Dwayne Haskins gave this fiery halftime speech. And they went out and they led the comeback. And Washington came back and won the game, being down after halftime, being down, coming back and winning the game. I mean, now they're leading the NFC East. After, Big Ben and the Steelers did what I thought they would do to the Giants, the Cowboys losing did take me by surprise. I thought the Cowboys had a better offense than the Rams. I thought the Cowboys would have had more success. But right now, in 2020, I mean, it's only week 1, but 2020 NFL season, week 1, heading into week 2, we have the Washington football team leading the NFC East. The Jacksonville Jaguars, due to tiebreakers, is the official leader in the AFC South. This is incredible. I mean, who would have called that in 2020? Amazing. This is why we play the game, folks, because we don't really know what's going to happen. But speaking of which, let's go ahead and get into my week 2 predictions here. I'm going to go ahead and get into my predictions for week 2 as we close the show here. So again, bear with me as I try to work on the length of the shows. Obviously, I'm not going to I don't want to recap like every game and this be like an hour and a half long video, or I have to make like a 2-part series, something like that. I just want to talk about the biggest stories for me. Just the big stories of the week that at least in my opinion, the big stories. And then just go over predictions at the end. But those are my top stories of the week that I thought coming out week 1 was kind of key, and we'll have to see how all that develops throughout the year. But let's go into my week 2 predictions as we have tonight the Battle of Ohio, the battle of number 1 draft picks, Joe Burrow versus Baker Mayfield. Now, Joe Burrow, he did not look like a rookie. And I gotta give him credit. He come in here, there's obviously with the pandemic, there's a lack of off-season training. There's no training camp. I mean, there's training camp, but it's more condensed version of training camp. There's no preseason games. And late in the game there, 2 minutes left, Joe Burrow, rookie, he goes out there and he almost leads a comeback. Like he didn't look like a rookie at all. Like he looked like that drive towards the end as the Bengals are driving down the field. It was so methodical. It was like he was in the process of engineering a great comeback. The poise, the mentality that Burrow had throughout the comeback was every bit the reason why he was the number 1 overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. Now, based off of what Ryan Fitzpatrick did last week, he's still the starter. So this week, but perhaps there's maybe a second part of the tanking method where the Dolphins are maybe tanking this season too. But if Fitzpatrick keeps throwing interceptions, having bad games, we might see Tua. But if Tyrod and Chargers keep winning, we may not see Justin Herbert either. So Burrow might be able to just be the only quarterback that plays this year of the ones that are drafted. But Joe Burrow, he almost led that comeback. A.J. Green with the big push-off there. Questionable push-off. I don't know if I would have called it there in that situation. When you look back at it, the defender was hugging him. And that forced AJ to kind of push him off. And, I'm not a fan of, calls like that. And then what happened in Dallas Rams game, I mean, I don't know. I just really hope that we're not going to be, after dealing with defensive pass interference, that we're not going to be sitting here dealing with okay, what is offensive pass interference? What is the clear definition of offensive pass interference? Because that's the last thing we need is another rule flag, a rule or penalty flag that is going to be questionable. Because Lord knows what will happen if we have to sit through 2021 where offensive pass interference is challengeable. Anyway, Joe Burrow, great poise. I liked what I saw out of the kid. I think, if they can I think in the long haul, if he can keep that up, they're going to be a contender there in the AFC North. As for the Browns, they were the Browns again, proving once again that no matter what happens, no matter who your head coach is, general manager, the Browns will always be the Browns. I mean, at one point they were sitting at 4th and 41 against the Ravens. So, I mean, or 3rd and 41. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Browns fans, but every year there's hope for you guys, and then week 1 happens and you squander it away. Now Odell Beckham, he may be on the trade block, he may not be. We'll have to see if he's going to go to a third team. Maybe he gets traded before the trade deadline. But as for the game tonight, Bengals Browns, I liked what I saw out of Joe Burrow. I wasn't really impressed with the Browns. Perhaps maybe that's just because the Ravens defense is just that good. But maybe we'll see some kind of production since the Bengals defense isn't exactly the Ravens defense. But I am going to go ahead and choose the Bengals to beat the Browns on Thursday Night Football. Even though the Browns do have a better track record on Thursday Night Football, um, or just any day that's not Sunday. But I'm going to go Joe Burrow and the Bengals on this one in the Battle of Ohio. Sorry, Browns fans. Moving to Sunday, moving to Sunday here. Let me just get this over. Here we go. Moving to Sunday, the 0-1 Giants travel to Chicago to play the Bears. And, again, Mitch Trubisky has to play better for the whole entire 60 minutes. Obviously, Nick Foles, who the Bears traded for, but they did not start, even though they could have had Cam Newton for $1 million, who helped the Patriots win against the Dolphins and looked like the Cam Newton of old. The Bears could have had that, but they also could have had Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes. You get the point. I'm going to take the Bears in this one. Obviously, if Trubisky stinks it up, perhaps he won't be able to make the comeback. But again, I think, to me, Trubisky has to clean it up. He has to play better throughout the whole game because you have a former Super Bowl champion quarterback in Nick Foles breathing down your neck there in Chicago. So Trubisky knows he's on a short leash. The Bears did not pick up his fifth-year option, so we'll have to see. He's basically playing for a new contract this year or after this year. But I'm picking the Bears here over the Giants. If I'm Saquon Barkley, I'm asking for a trade out of New York. I mean, this is obviously becomes more of a wasted pick for the Giants. The Falcons and the Cowboys. I have the Cowboys winning here. I was not really enthused with the Falcons on Sunday. I mean, obviously they're playing Seattle, but I think, to me, it might be at the end of the road there in Atlanta for Dan Quinn. Cowboys win here in their home opener. Now, Lions, Packers. Hopefully you won't have a heartbreaker this time. We know last year the controversy with the face mask calls last year. Hopefully there won't be any of that. Hopefully there won't be no DeAndre Swift dropping a game-winning catch. But I got the Packers winning this one here. They go to 2-0 comfortably. They're in the NFC North as Rodgers continues to shut up the media. My upset of the week, and you know what? I'm going to ride with this because I'm going to ride this out. My upset of the week. Jacksonville Jaguars, Gardner Minshew will get the win over the Tennessee Titans and move to 2-0, not just overall, but 2-0 in the division, which is going to be important down the line if they can sustain their success. But I think Jacksonville will beat the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. They'll get the upset. I was right in my upset of the Cardinals beating the 49ers on the road. I'm taking the Jaguars over the Titans. Speaking of the Colts, Vikings head to Indianapolis to play the Colts. I want to take Minnesota here to rebound after last week. I don't know why I thought maybe something would change, but I mean, unless Phillip Rivers can cut down the interceptions, I don't see it there in Indy. I think it could be another one just like Tampa Bay. I think it could be one of those things where you have these expectations, bringing in a veteran quarterback, and then it fails, and then it becomes a waste. But I'm taking Minnesota here. Bills, Dolphins, easily. Buffalo. They're going to walk all over the Dolphins on this one. Maybe we'll see Tua in week 3. Maybe we won't. 49ers, Jets. 49ers are going to walk over the Jets here. The Jets are just banged up. They're a mess. Le'Veon Bell just went on IR. It's one big mess there with Adam Gase, and just a waste of a season for the Jets. They should have fired Adam Gase, but they didn't. So this whole season is just a waste. So maybe now they're in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes next year. Rams and the Eagles. So I'm taking the Rams. I mean, I knew the defensive line of Washington would give fits to Carson Wentz and company last week, but I still thought the Eagles would win. And when I saw the game, Washington had 8 sacks on Carson Wentz. I looked this week, they play the Rams, which is Aaron Donald and Michael Brockers. That offensive line is going to be worn out. I mean, they still got the Steelers, they got the 49ers, they got the Ravens. I mean, this Eagles offensive line is going to be tested early on this season. This is incredible. The worst timing ever for an offensive line to have injury issues like the Eagles are having here. But I think the Rams are going to win here. They're going to go to 2-0. The Eagles are going to go to 0-2. Carson Wentz, I mean, they got to do something to get that offensive line fixed to keep Carson Wentz upright for the rest of the year. I mean, 8 sacks in week 1. I mean, what's Aaron Donald and Michael Brockers going to do this week? Broncos, Steelers. So, Steelers win this one here. Vic Fangio might have got himself fired for that terrible, terrible coaching at the end of the game on Monday night. Terrible. Terrible. You have 2 timeouts. You don't use any of them. You just assume Gostkowski is going to miss. Like, I don't know, man. That's stuff that's the kind of thing that gets coaches fired. And I think maybe the Broncos might need an offensive guy to come in there and develop Drew Lock. That might just be the case. Because I did like Drew Lock. I was impressed by him. And, you know, he overthrew what could have been the game winner, but not the game winner, but the clincher. But essentially, I think if they can get the right guy in there from an offensive standpoint, I think the Broncos will be all right. But they play the Steelers this week, and I told you, I said this in my prediction video, I thought the Steelers would return to the playoffs because they would have Big Ben. Big Ben did Big Ben things. Their defense was excellent, stout. So to me, Steelers are going to win here. Easily. That defense is going to give teams fits this year, and I would hate to see this. I would hate to be the team that has to play the Steelers in the playoffs with that defense. Panthers, Bucs. TB versus TB. Teddy Bridgewater versus Tom Brady. I'm going to go Tom Brady and the Bucs. They rebound here. Panthers go to 0-2. Cardinals host the Washington football team. The Washington football team that is in first place, they go on the road to Arizona. They got to go across the country. I think Arizona is going to get the win here. 2-0 for the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to be something this year. Texans fans, I'm sorry. You have to deal with Bill O'Brien. And you have to watch DeAndre Hopkins do DeAndre Hopkins things in Arizona. Chiefs, Chargers, Patrick Mahomes here against the LA Chargers. And, well, this is easy. Chiefs over the Chargers. Ravens over the Texans. I said this also in my predictions video. I said the Texans would take a step back without DeAndre Hopkins. And they did. They ran the ball. They were running good decently. And I do expect them, the Ravens do have a run issue in stopping the run. So I do expect David Johnson to get off some runs, maybe a touchdown or two. But from a passing standpoint, they clearly missed DeAndre Hopkins. When you look at what Lamar's doing, with DeAndre Hopkins, the Ravens went and smashed the Texans 42-7. So I think now you take DeAndre out of the equation. I think the Ravens are going to win big here again. I think Lamar's going to keep doing Lamar things. Patriots, Seahawks, the Super Bowl rematch, except there's no Tom Brady. Cam Newton and the Patriots go to Seattle to play Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Cam Newton's going to learn that you're not going to be playing the Dolphins 16 times a year. And I think this is where the Patriots will go 1-1. Russell Wilson and company get the win on Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football. Viva Las Vegas. The Raiders home opener in Las Vegas, Sin City. The first time ever in NFL history of a franchise being in Las Vegas. The Raiders host the New Orleans Saints. The Raiders did get the win over the Panthers last week. The Saints beat the Bucs, but I do have the Saints winning here over the Raiders. Their home debut is going to be spoiled. It's the Saints. Alvin Kamara had a great game last week. I expect him to do the same thing this week. Here, and I think they're going to go on and win big. Well, I don't want to say win big, but they're going to go on and win. They're going to spoil the home debut of the Las Vegas Raiders. So, those are my picks for week number 2. This has been the Front 7 podcast. And again, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. As every week here on my channel, I will have a new Front 7 every Thursday morning previewing Thursday night's game and the week ahead and talking the biggest stories around the league from the previous week. So as we enter week number 2, what are your biggest takeaways from week 1? Are there any overreactions? Are there anything you think that maybe I might have missed? Leave a comment below. And I will see y'all next week, next Thursday, for preview of week 3 and the discussion of all the big news items of week number 2 in the National Football League. I've been Money Mike. And let's enjoy let's enjoy some more football this weekend.